that?
Oh, was that my big thing?
Yeah.
Proper.
I can do all the songs. All the single ladies, all the single.
Right. Which end do we go?
Cheers.
Oh, those are trumpets. Right, now.
Tell me rehearse this.
Have you been fiddling with the rectum? Sorry, plectrum. Close. Right, hang on.
You're not going to tune up this. Come on.
It's close, isn't it? Which are the guitar players? Okay, guys, if you could just take a little walk. Right, now, I want you to know that the years I have suffered from my music, now it's your turn. And also, what I didn't expect was my Sprog coming. She's just finished work and she needs a lift. You know, that's about it. And,
She has to listen to you and return to get
and this is,
I'd rather crawl.
it is worth saying, thank you. Not now, Arthur. Not now, Arthur. It is worth saying that although I've had a guitar for 20 years, I can't play. Every now and then I return to it to see if I can play. But I can't. But there was this thing that we're going to do tonight is a thing that I used to play to my daughters when they were little. And I still remember their smiling, beautiful faces crumpling into tears, saying, "Daddy, please don't play that again." So what we do is we do. Is that right? So it's going to go something like this.
Where's the Wi-Fi?
Like that, alright? Now you're going to, you know how we rehearsed it?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's going to go. Right. When I nod my head, you hit it.
Very good.
Okay. So here's the thing then. Is that what I want you to do, what I would like you to do, class, is to think about the thing that you most like to see in your teaching job. The thing that's truly moved you. That thing, maybe you've only seen it once in all 10 years of teaching. Is this thing that you've seen. And you're going to give me a sentence, and so at this point, we remember that what we need is Alistair. Because we haven't rehearsed this. Alistair, you need to come here, because what's going to happen is we're going to write them down. And we should have practiced this a little bit. But it's going well, though, isn't it, don't you think? Would it be better to tune the guitar? I don't know.
I'm taking one.
Yes, you're going to type. Are you? Oh, who's the typer? Typer, quick typer.
We've got an ICT teacher sitting there. Come on.
Mark, can you type for us? Right. Sat.
There goes Alistair, one finger Douglas.
Yeah, so here's. Right, hang on. I forgot where we up to. Right, so we're here. It's up here. Number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you've got until we get to toot toot for you to come up with your sentences. You ready? Not now. Right.
Who shall I choose?
Yes, choose somebody. It's stripey. Because give me a look of
That's the
content.
line I'm giving you.
Oh, who should I choose?
Yeah, that was the line. That's the first one.
Right.
Who shall I choose? That's an incident I was thinking in my head with the teaching.
The thing that you like to see.
I think I'd like to know. I think that somebody did that was very inspirational, very moving.
Okay, right, so that's we'll have that. Who should I choose? We need new textbooks, so we're not doing the same one each time. Thing that we like to see, people. Do you need me to play some more?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. What you like to see, it might be a thing, it might be about kids like working together, it might be a smile, it might be pride where they've done a bit more something than you thought, it might be where they have an inspiration, it might be when you've seen a part of marking done, anything like that. So here we go, I won't go again.
Maybe too many of us at the same time.
You remember this, Nick?
She's crying.
Now,
Pupil becoming teacher.
pupil becoming teacher. Quick, time. Is it quick? Oh, it's
That'll take me 5 minutes.
Whoops.
Right?
Right, next.
Pupils that help each other without being problems.
Blimey.
Ooh, that's a nice
Let's do that, yeah. Next. Clearly we don't like anything.
Enjoying themselves.
Kids enjoy themselves.
Look at the nice one. Doesn't tune out.
Oh yes. Any more?
Using Google Docs without prompting.
And so this time, it's going to be things that we like to hear. Thinking hats. You ready? And I nod my head. People,
I'll have a go, miss.
I will go, miss.
Oh, magic!
Are they not playing the sticks?
Well, we'll just build up to that.
Oh, okay.
We'll build up to
The
that.
sticks are coming.
Yeah, drum solo. Next.
Hey!
Next.
See how that works in another context.
Let's see how that works in another
Like the
context.
people saying that. I can see how that works in another context.
Okay, I can see how that works in another context.
Extended abstract.
Sure.
And another here.
How can I?
How can I?
Hello, puppet.
The lad, you missed. We did loads of songs that were fantastic. We just
So spoilers.
There's your raffle ticket.
Isn't this brilliant?
You alright?
Can we do that again?
I
So
tried
now-
it at home last night.
Oh, but I'm talking about now.
Simon.
We do it
He's having a little moment.
I'm having a
Leave
little
him be.
moment.
Just leave him be.
I'm having a
It'll be
little
fine
moment.
in a minute.
I appreciate
It's
the
gone on
mobile
quite a
phones.
little case of a long moment. It'll be fine in a minute, you know.
Are we ready?
Yeah, yeah.
Right, now this time we want one word that describes your teaching. One word. And it could be...
Is that where you've just been? What's going to do with you?
Just expect it to see what's going on.
Yeah.
Just go through it. I mean, not once, it says to do it.
Well,
Good. So pick the shit up.
Good for you?
Lazy.
lazy!
Must be grooving these days.
No.
No. There you go.
So,
All the time.
We missed him.
thank you. Thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's nice, like.
Yeah, it's all.
So our next task then is to look at what we've got here. So we can take ourselves up that. And we've got, who should I choose? Pupil becoming teacher. Pupils that help each other without being prompted. Using Google Docs without prompting. Kids enjoying themselves, but in a nice way. Lazy chaos. If I take it at GCSE, will I get used to it? Isn't this brilliant? I cried that at home last night. How can I? I'll have a go, miss. Thank you. I can see how that works in another context. So what we can do now is to think about the sounds of the words, and maybe what we could do is to put them in a different order. Because some of them don't necessarily fit or sound right. So we could say, who should I choose as a nice starting sentence. But the next one, which says, pupil becoming teacher, pupils that help each other without being prompted. Perhaps we don't want those two together. Because what we're going to write now, what we're going to create with all of your thoughts, is a poem. A poem. A what? A poem. A poem. A poem. We're going to do a poem. So let's do an easy one first. Which line should be the title?
So we need to put something together, mate.
Lazy chaos together is nice, isn't it? Lazy chaos at the top, so that's why we need them up there. So look, what do you think should be the first line?
Isn't this brilliant?
Isn't this brilliant? What should be the next line?
You see how David Bowie does it, or Bowie?
Well, now there's the thing, because maybe our perfect student here has offered another line that we didn't think of in that circle of asking the things. So maybe putting Bowie in there might be a thing that we need to do. Now what we'll not do is do the whole thing, but what I've shown you here is how we do found poetry, which is how I started way back, which is that if you start to a class with a thing that they don't want to do, we're all going to do poetry today, and I've got an idea that we're going to end up in Wilford Owen or gigs or something like that. They're all going to turn around and say, I don't want to do that. Is that right? They're all going to say, I'm not doing poetry. And what I used to teach at Walker, one of the things that we had there was like, poems with pubs. Right, we don't do that. It's definitely a girls' thing. It's not a hard lads' thing. It was a very macho-led thing. So what we'll be doing is saying, well, let's see if anybody actually understands what poetry is. It's about the sounds of the words, it's about the rhythms of the words, and it's about the meanings of the words. So we've started that with lazy chaos, isn't this brilliant? So we can then move into your groups, and that's what we'll do if we're going to do this all evening. It's to say, well, we're going to move into our groups, and we're going to say, well, which two can we put together? Which sound nice together? I'm not asking for a whole poem, I'm just asking for which ones sound nice together. So we start to group them together. And then what would usually happen is that one would choose one of them to read it aloud, and another one to think about the words that need to be emphasised and put together. But it doesn't just have to be about poems. It could be about any subject matter, which is whatever subject it is that you're teaching, that they're struggling with, that they're saying they don't know anything about. All right, we don't know anything about French, because we're talking about MFL a little earlier. Maybe they can't remember all of that stuff about travel. Is that the thing that they need to do? Is the thing, going to the directions thing? Sort
It's
of.
Hogwarts today.
Hogwarts today. Thank you. That was very supportive of you to say Hogwarts. Thank you. And undermine my teaching in front of the class. But it's good. I'm cool with it. So what you can do then is say, let's just shout out the different words that we know, the words that we've heard, the words that we kind of think are fairly useful, but we're not sure how we're supposed to use them, and black them all out there. Then turn to the class and say, does anybody know what that means? So I used to do this a lot with Shakespeare and stuff, where nobody knew anything. Let's put all the words in there that we don't know, and then let's see if we come up with any definitions of that. And so it allows us to put ourselves together and start to create some sense of learning that we can then build on. Is that all right? Mm-hmm. So then we then go back to and say, why did we have to torture with the guitar? Well, because the other strategies that you might have had were, I've got a clock, you've got 30 seconds in your groups to come. Is that the thing that we were doing? Turn to your pairs. Now, if you're a teacher of the first week, then that works very well. If you've got them the next term, and you've got the term after that, and you've got them the next year, then actually saying you've got 10 seconds to do that, let's start to get bored with it. So the fact of whether you can play the guitar or not really is of no consequence. I was talking to Ian Campbell earlier in the week. He says he pulls out a ukulele that he hasn't really got any sense of how to play. It's enough for them to understand that when that bit finishes, we throw in a little bit of the toot-toot. That gives them some other part of saying, well, actually, this is a bit of fun, and not necessarily a serious bit of learning. I'm hoping you think that was of some value. Thank you.